Hello there and welcome to this week's video, which is all about what I've been doing over the last week, and is why I couldn't upload a video last week really, because I've been doing all the admin in the world, it seems like. So, you didn't need to see a video about that really, did you? So I'm going to be talking about Etsy and the pros and cons of leaving, because over the last week I've been setting up my Big Cartel store, which is going to be acting as my main store. I've just kind of spent a lot of time deciding over the last few months, or years actually, and I've just decided that the time's right really. But through this process it's made me realise that there are various pros and various cons of leaving, so I'm going to discuss them today. Before I do, however, I just want to reinforce this is my opinion. I appreciate fully that there are loads of people out there who love Etsy and are reluctant to hear any criticism of the platform for various reasons. They might have their own store there, or they just enjoy the shopping experience, and I fully appreciate that, but this is all about my findings really. So stick around if you want to hear them basically. Before I move on to the points though, I'm going to be looking at my notepad here because there's loads of stuff on there, and I'd never remember it all if I was to just talk to camera. So if I look down, that's going to be the reason why. Also, I've been a bit poorly this week. It's a flare-up with a condition that I have called FND. Weirdly, it is actually FND Awareness Month, and it makes me a bit sad that I've not been able to do anything for it this month. So I'll probably do something about it in the future. But if I have a bit of brain fog, that's going to be why. So I did a video recently all about the recent Etsy strike and why I decided to take part, and basically I've been sort of mulling over leaving Etsy for some time now, and I've given some reasons in that video. You don't need to hear them again. For those that have followed me for a little while, you know that I did set up my Big Cartel store a few years ago now, but I was having some issues with my eyes, which is related to this health condition. So basically I was kind of reluctant to spend unnecessary time online really, because it basically hurt my eyes to look at a screen. So that's why I went back to Etsy. But since then I've been able to find ways to manage my time online a bit better. So it was an easy decision to choose Big Cartel because it was basically already set up. And I just really like the platform. It's really super clean to look at. I'll just show you here. I just really like how uncluttered it is, and it does what it says it does basically. It's just a really nice looking store, and I think it goes really well with my actual website. They look like they belong to each other. There's a similar language going on, which to be honest I've never really felt with my Etsy store, because of the platform. It's super cluttered by comparison, which it has to be. Etsy's there to provide you with a lot of information and lots of different ways that you can shop. So I fully appreciate why it's way more cluttered. So for me, one of the pros is I'm way happier with how my shop looks. It's just does what I want it to do basically. It also feels like it's kind of my own property. Having an Etsy store, you're fully aware that the whole platform, it's Etsy, it's whole intellectual property, and the way it looks is hugely synonymous with Etsy because it is Etsy. So you never feel wholly independent, I think, as an artist or a maker on there. You're just kind of under this kind of big umbrella, and you're one of any number of artists out there who are offering kind of similar stuff really. So for me it feels way more indie, which kind of suits my whole kind of brand identity, I think. So for me that felt like a huge pro. So another pro for me is the cost. Big Cartel is currently $9.99 per month, and for that it allows you 50 listings, and you get kind of behind the scenes stuff, you know, you got your analytics and all that kind of stuff as well. There is a free version, but you're only allowed to have kind of 5 listings, you know, which is great to test the platform out. But if you're kind of running a business of any description, you know, it's difficult to have the 5 listings there. And with that, you obviously don't have any listing fees, and there's no transaction fees for Big Cartel. Obviously, you still have to pay them for your PayPal or, you know, your Stripe cards transaction fee, but yeah, there's nothing for the Big Cartel. So for me, that feels like a pro, because you've got that one kind of standalone payment per month, and yeah, it just kind of works out cheaper, provided of course that you're selling work. And I know that I'm mentioning Big Cartel a lot, it's just because I use obviously Big Cartel, but there's other platforms out there. You know, Ko-fi offer a really cheap shop system as well, and I think that's only about $6 a month for Ko-fi Gold, and with that you get a free shop. But for me, I just kind of prefer how Big Cartel looks, really. That's what made my decision, basically. Another pro is that you don't have to subscribe to Etsy's policies or their house rules, and you know, although there's a lot of good stuff in there, they can change their policies at any one time, and you know, being an Etsy seller, you have to subscribe to those if you want to remain on their platform. So yeah, for me it just feels kind of freeing not being kind of part of that, really. So yeah, I'd say that's another pro. I think also, and I imagine a lot of people will agree on this, is that Etsy kind of feels really broad and oversaturated, and it's really hard to stand out. You know, I kind of only sell kind of sculptures or my my wall art, so you know, I don't sell masses and masses of stuff. So unless you've got loads and loads of listings, yeah, it's kind of tough getting noticed on there, really. So I think a lot of sellers, or you know, all sellers really, if they want to be a successful business, they have to invest a lot of time into their own marketing and their own SEO over on their Etsy store. And you know, I just figure if you're doing that for an Etsy store, you may as well be doing it for your own store, basically. So you know, you still get traffic from Etsy, but I was noticing that I was getting more and more traffic from my own efforts and less from Etsy itself. So yeah, I think that's another pro. And also, as I mentioned in my last video about Etsy, Etsy has some really questionable customer service. It's really hard, firstly, to get, you know, any kind of prompt response from them. And yeah, I had a really, really tough experience with them maybe around a year, 18 months ago, and I just really didn't like how they handled something. I felt it was really unprofessional, and yeah, it took me a little while to get over it, if I'm honest, and I wanted to close my store there and then, basically, but I didn't. I thought it'd be a knee-jerk reaction, but yeah, since then I've just thought, you know what, I just don't really want to have to deal with them again if an issue arises. So yeah, that was quite a big part of my decision, I have to say. Now then, moving on to the pros of Etsy, and there are quite a few, and you know, I want to be balanced and fair about the whole thing, so yeah, let's move on to those. So the biggest pro of Etsy, I think anyway, as a result of this whole process over the last week, is the Etsy reviews system that they've got in place. And it's something that slightly concerns me with Big Cartel, I have to say, because I've been researching basically what the average sale is in terms of amounts on Etsy, and all the sources are, you know, offer completely different information, but I think it's anywhere between $20 and $40. So that works out to be, I don't know, between £15 and £30 for an average sale. And my average piece in my store is maybe about £100. You know, I sell polymer portraits, the little sculptures of people, And I sell kind of polymer paintings as well, so they're you know, pieces of wall art. So yeah, it's an average maybe £100 for a sale, which, you know, is quite a lot of money to spend on something when you're getting it from an independent store and not a recognised platform really. And also, Big Cartel don't offer any kind of review system or review functionality on their site. So for me, that is a bit of a concern because, you know, I want people to feel confidence in buying a Clé de Ciré piece. And I'm really lucky. I've received loads and loads of great feedback and reviews on Etsy, all 5 stars. So what I've done in the short term is basically added a page on my Big Cartel store to say, I'm sorry that I can't offer reviews on this site, but if you want to see some from previous sales, basically go to my Etsy store, which, you know, I'm a bit about really. I just wish that there was a better solution for that because, you know, I just want people to feel confidence looking at my store and purchasing really. And I don't know what the answer to that is. Let me know if you've got any suggestions because yeah, that's a tricky one. And yeah, I don't want to put people off really if they're interested in a piece, because, you know, I always do my best, as yeah, anybody does really, if they want to have a business with integrity. So yeah, that's a tricky one. Another massive pro on Etsy is the marketplace. And yeah, as I've mentioned, my Big Cartel store is basically just a standalone store, so there's no other marketplace basically on there. You can't kind of leave and look at somebody else's work, although that could be considered a pro or a con. But I'm basically limited to my own audience, you know, on Twitter, Instagram, and here, as to who sees my work really, or if they're looking at, you know, hashtags on Instagram, etc. And on a marketplace, your work has the potential to be seen by, you know, a much wider audience, depending if, you know, you've done your own work in terms of tagging things appropriately and, you know, your own SEO. So that's another concern of mine, I have to say. Yeah, it is a pro of Etsy. Possibly another con, but, you know, it's a tricky one for artists out there who are, yeah, running their own independent store really. And another pro of Etsy, and this is a recent one really, for folks that send to the EU. Obviously, due to Brexit, there's been all sorts of problems with red tape, basically, from selling from the UK to the EU. And Etsy has devised a way, certainly for sales under €150, I believe. They basically help you out in terms of IOSS numbers, and I won't go into any great detail because this video isn't, you know, about that, and I might cover that in more detail in a different video. But they've basically made it easier for people to send orders to the EU. And it's near impossible to do it as an independent store. I haven't actually sent many items to the EU in my whole history as Clé de Ciré. I sell mainly to the US and the UK. Helpfully, my camera stopped recording there, but anyway, where was I? Yeah, other artists I know have stopped selling to the EU from the UK, and, you know, it's wholly understandable. I've done it myself. I've just put, you know, a notice on my Big Cartel store to say I can't honour orders to the EU at the moment, which is unfortunate, but it's just a tricky area at the moment. And yeah, a lot of people will be able to empathise with this, I imagine. Another pro of Etsy, I'd say, is the sense of community between Etsy sellers. And although it was better, I have to say, in the early days, I think there certainly still is that kind of camaraderie between sellers. Although it has to be said that, you know, you can find similar folks on Twitter, and I really like the Handmade Hour hashtag in particular on, I think it's Wednesday and Sunday evenings on Twitter. and you can see what other creatives are up to. They're all kind of selling their wares, and yeah, it's just a really nice kind of resource really to be able to reach out to other like-minded folks and makers. So if you haven't kind of partaken in Handmade Hour, I'd certainly suggest you go and kind of track down other creatives really. It's yeah, just nice to see what other folks are up to. Another con in leaving Etsy is the whole time and efforts it takes into creating a whole new store. I was semi-fortunate in that I already had my Big Cartel set up with the templates design that I wanted, and you know, all the kind of basic functionality, so that was a time saver. But I had to go through and create a whole load of new listings, and I have to add some more as well. And also you have to go through whatever online presence you have to make sure that your link to your store is right. So, you know, I've got 200 videos on YouTube that I'm partially going through to update my store links and, you know, all that kind of stuff. I have got a notice on my Etsy store to say, you know, my store is moving to Big Cartel, but yeah, in terms of SEO, I'm just trying to get it all kind of pointing in the right direction really. So it's taken me kind of a week already to, you know, try and go through everything as well as setting up my store. So, you know, like everything, you have to kind of invest that time really if you want to make anything a success. But it is a bit annoying having to invest that time because, you know, you could have spent it creating other lovely stuff. So yeah, that's basically been my experience over the last week. I've been really mulling over how I feel about Clé de Ciré leaving, and as such what I've decided to do, and it's mainly as a result of the reviews issue, is to still keep my Etsy store going in the background for a while anyway, and I'm only going to be selling a few items on there, or offering for sale a few items on there, and namely my polymer paintings. They're also listed on my Big Cartel store, but yeah, it's just the reviews that I'm or access to reviews that I'm a bit concerned about really. And also if anything happens with you know, EU sales and stuff, I guess it's nice to have that kind of platform in the background if I need to use it. But I'm going to be promoting only my Big Cartel store, or certainly that's the plan anyway. You know, I'm really seeing that as my main store. And yeah, I'm going to have Etsy ticking around in the background until I decide what to do with it really. So I'd say it's a soft exit. If it is an exit, you know, I'm not sure. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are actually. Are you in a similar predicament? Do you have an Etsy store that you'd like to kind of leave behind? Maybe you've done it already. Maybe you've got a store on, I don't know, Big Cartel, Shopify. I think Squarespace offer stores as well. You know, I'd love to hear how it's going for you. Or if you have tried to leave Etsy and decided to go back for whatever reason, you know, you could have had similar experiences to me. The review thing is a nightmare actually, isn't it? I think for me that's the biggest hurdle that I need to kind of overcome, and I'm not entirely sure how to do that really, but I think this is the best decision for now. And also I'm really keen to explore some digital arts alongside my, you know, my clay stuff, because basically I like working on different things really, so it's a great excuse to start experimenting with some digital art. So yeah, I don't know if that's something that I'll offer on Etsy, if I want to keep it separate from my clay work on my main store. I don't know, I've just got loads of questions at the moment and, you know, very little answers. So I guess we'll see. It's all about pivoting as a creative, isn't it? And yeah, I'll probably discuss more on this as we go on, but I'm really sorry to have waffled on for so long really. I thought this would be quite a short video, but yeah, I think it's just going to be a bit kind of waffly. So I think that's going to be it for today. It's kind of weird because I had intended for this to be a studio vlog and yeah, show you what I'm making here, but I think I'll save this for next week. I'm just working on another polymer painting, so yeah, you can see how it came together next week. And thanks for watching. leave your thoughts down below, and I'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye bye.